Hello, my little rays of sunshine. How are you all doing out there today? I'm Michelle the Introvert, and today I have a different video to share with you. I think it's going to be fun though. Right in front of me, I have several different photos that I thought you all might be interested in. And I thought this would also be an opportune time for me to share a little bit about myself with you all and a little bit about my family too. And if you're all interested, come on along and stay for a while. Get yourself a tea, a coffee, maybe a pop or some juice, and just sit back and relax, and we can have a little chit chat. First of all, I think I might show you a picture of my mom's side of the family. I come from a very, very large family on my mom's side, and I'll show you what I mean here. Here's a picture here of my mom's side of the family, and this was taken quite a few years ago. I'm just a little girl. I'm actually the one in blue right here in the front. The little blonde-haired girl, that's me. And these here, this nice couple here, that's my grandparents. So that would be my mom's mom and dad. And mom had 14 including my mom. Mom had 13 siblings, brothers and sisters. And of course they've married and they had children. And these are just some of my cousins down in the front here. It's an old picture, so don't mind the little crinkles in some spots. But me and my cousins are down in the front. And in this picture, some of my cousins that I now have, they weren't even born yet. So there has been an increase, and the family has actually doubled since this photo was taken. And my mom and dad are in this picture too. Mom is actually right there, and my dad's wearing the glasses behind her. Yes, so this was taken quite a few years ago. I was just a little girl. And we've had many fun family gatherings, as you can imagine. On my dad's side, it was a family that was quite a bit smaller. There were my grandparents, of course, my dad's mom and dad. And then my dad had a brother named Uncle Len. And I'll show you a picture of my dad here. Here's a picture of my dad with me, and there's my stepmother right there. And this picture was actually taken at Joshua's high school graduation. We had a nice high school graduation ceremony for Joshua at our house. It was very, very nice. In Ontario, one of my favorite places to go was to my grandparents' farm. My mom's parents owned 100 acres, a 100-acre farm. And here's actually another picture of my grandfather. He was such a good man, I'll tell you. I sure did love him, and I sure loved my grandmother as well. And just going to the farm to spend time with them and just be around the horses and the pigs and the chickens and the donkey and Blucher, who was my grandfather's hound dog. It was one of my favorite places to go in the world. And I'll show you some pictures of the horses. This is actually a bunch of photocopied pictures of the horses that my grandfather had. And my mom's sisters, who are in this picture, they were a little younger there. But my aunts love horses. They still love horses, and they still have horses even to this day. But there's some nice pictures there of the horses, some of the horses that my aunts and my grandfather had over the years. My mom's dad, his parents lived in Wasaga Beach, Canada. That's in Ontario. And they owned a cottage, and that was also one of my favorite places to go because it was like a 2-minute walk down to the beach. Oh, Wasaga Beach is an amazing, amazing place to go and to swim. And it was wonderful having great-grandparents that just lived a 2-minute walk from the beach. It was amazing. And I'll show you a picture of my great-grandmother. And this is great-grandma right there on her 100th birthday. And guess who that young teenage girl is beside her? That was me. I was 16 at the time, and they were having a birthday party for Grandma, great-grandma. And this is my grandfather's brother, Uncle Fred. He would be my great-uncle, Uncle Fred. So I had a really nice time spending time with my great-grandmother on her birthday. And I'll show you another picture of her and I. These are special pictures to me. I'm very family-oriented, as you have probably guessed. And it was a privilege just to be able to spend time with my great-grandmother. Good quality time with family is very important. I also have a picture of my mom. And this was when she was a little bit younger. Very pretty. Yes, there's my mom right there. And I'll show you a picture of mom with Stacy and Joshua as well. And Stacy and Joshua were just teenagers when this picture was taken. I would also like to show you a picture of Stacy and Joshua with my other grandmother. So this would be my dad's mom. And some of you already know the story behind my grandmother, my dad's mom, moving down here to Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. And that is when Grandma lived in Ontario. She was living by herself, and when she was 90 years old, there would sometimes be some teenage boys that would come from the high school, and instead of heading home or going to their friend's house, they would go to Grandma's house first, and they would light her lawn on fire. So needless to say, for a 90-year-old woman, that really scared her. She let Uncle Len know, she let my brother know, she let my dad know. And when my dad found out that this was going on, because it happened more than once, where these boys would go to Grandma's house and light a match and catch her lawn on fire. They would light her lawn on fire. And so Dad and my stepmother and Grandma talked, and they made arrangements and decisions for Grandma to move down here from Ontario. So when they came to that decision, my dad and stepmother decided to build onto their house, because my grandma was very, very independent. So my dad and stepmother decided to build onto their house like a granny suite apartment. Grandma had her own bathroom. She had a nice sized bedroom. She had her own little kitchen and stove and fridge and kitchen cupboards. She had an area for her table. I'll actually show you a picture here. Yes, okay. In this picture here, let me just put my glasses on. There's Grandma in the middle again with Stacy and Joshua. And you can see Grandma's little kitchen table behind her here. And Grandma's fridge is in the back. And her kitchen cupboards, they're on this side here. Now on this side of the picture here, you can see a doorway. And when Grandma would walk through that doorway, that would take her right into Dad's part of the house. So there was a door to separate Dad's part of the house from Grandma's, but it was easy enough that my dad could kind of keep an eye on Grandma a little bit. And if Grandma needed anything, all she had to do was walk through that door. And Dad was there, and my stepmother was there to help her with anything she needed help with. And Grandma had moved down when she was 90, and she lived to be almost 100. She actually passed away 6 weeks before her 100th birthday. But for that amount of time, she knew she was safe, and Dad knew she was safe. And near the end of her time on Earth, Dad would often make her meals, cook her meals, keep an eye on her. When she wanted to do grocery shopping or her banking, Dad would take her into town. Yeah. So she was well looked after, and of course, we visited a lot because we spent a lot of time with my dad and stepmother, and we spent a lot of time visiting Grandma as well. And I wanted Stacy and Joshua to get to know their great-grandmother. And as you can see from this picture, this lovely picture, they were able to spend some really good quality time with their great-grandmother. I have another picture here, and this picture is of Gerald, myself, and Stacy and Joshua. And this picture was taken on Grandma's side of the house. You were there for dinner, the beautiful big table there. And another picture I'll show you. This is on Dad's side of the house. Stacy and Joshua were teenagers there. They were helping decorate the Christmas tree. Stacy's putting the star on the top. They had a lot of fun growing up. They would go over and help Dad and my stepmother decorate the Christmas tree. And here's another picture here of Stacy and Joshua with the Christmas tree. Nice tall Christmas tree. Here's another nice picture of my dad and stepmother. And there's Stacy and Joshua. And this is actually my stepmother's mother right there. And this was taken on Grandma's side of the house. And you can see the doorway. Okay, right there. That doorway there. There was just a doorway separating Grandma's apartment from Dad's part of the house. Easy access in case Grandma needed help. So that's a really nice picture too. And here's a nice picture of Joshua when he was little with my grandmother. I have a story to share with you, and that is about one of the ponies that my grandfather had on his farm. And I'll show you a picture of Patches. There she is, and I used to ride Patches quite a bit when I was growing up. She was a Shetland pony. Actually, my grandfather had another pony too. Smokey. I used to ride him a lot. I had a great time with Smokey. But I'll tell you a little story. I think you'll be amused. And that is, on my grandfather's farm, there was an apple orchard, and he had many apples in this apple orchard. And that's where the horses' field was. The horses, they would go under the shade of those apple trees. They would nibble on the apples when they fell to the ground. There was a lot of grass for the horses to eat. And there was also a lot of water for them to drink. But around the perimeter of this field, my grandfather had a barbed wire fence. And there was like one barbed wire fence at the top and then the other underneath. So there would be the posts and then the barbed wire fences, of course. And I was quite young. I was only about 9 or 10 years old. So I wasn't tall enough to climb over the top, the very top barbed wire fence. So whenever I wanted to go into the field or leave the field, I would have to push down on the bottom barbed wire fence and very carefully, without the top barbed wire fence pulling on my hair or scratching my back, I would have to just kind of tuck myself down and just climb through the fencing, holding on to the bottom barbed wire fence so I could get through. Well, there was one day that I was at my grandfather's farm. I was out with the horses, patting the horses, spending time climbing the apple trees and things like that. And I had a sucker. I had a lollipop in my hand. As growing up, that's what kids have. They have lollipops. So I was spending time with the horses. I had my lollipop, but it was time to leave the field. So here I am holding down with one hand, trying to keep, to climb through and watching my back so it doesn't scratch on the top barbed wire fence. And I'm holding my sucker out like this, except I had it behind me. I had the sucker held up behind me. My arm was straight like that. And I was trying to get through the fencing. And as I was almost on the other side onto the lawn, when I felt my sucker slip out from my fingers, I was very puzzled. Why would my sucker slip out from my fingers? I just thought it fell to the ground or something. So anyway, by the time I was on the other side of the field and the fencing and onto the lawn, I turned around to see what had happened to my sucker, and to my great surprise, there was Patches with my sucker in her mouth. So that's what happened to my sucker. Patches was having a very good treat that afternoon. Oh my, I'll never forget it. I tell that story so many times, and when I tell it to my family, because they all know Patches, they know what kind of silly pony she was, and they all have a good laugh. So I thought I'd share that funny and sweet little story with you all here today. Going to school in Ontario was always such a really good experience for me, but when I graduated from high school, that was about that time that my dad and stepmother bought a property here in Nova Scotia. And up to that point, I was living with Mom. So when Dad had said he was moving down here, I came down with him. And I was actually supposed to be down here for 6 months. This was after I graduated from high school, actually right after I graduated from high school. So I packed up my gear and came down here and lived with Dad and my stepmother for supposed to be 6 months. But guess what happened in that 6-month time frame? I met Gerald. So yes, I met Gerald. I moved down here in July 1989, and Gerald and I met in September 1989. We started dating in November, and June 1990, Gerald proposed. I was 18 years old, just a month before my 19th birthday. So Gerald proposed in June, and we were married in September. I was 19 when we got married. So here we are over 32 years later. And it's been very, very nice. And time has gone by fast. But there's a lot of really important memories and times that we've spent together. It's been great spending this much time. 32 years with Gerald. It's been great. It's been wonderful. It's been an adventure, that's for sure. So I'd like to show you a few more pictures of Stacy and Joshua. I have some right here. And this is Stacy when she was into bowling, actually. When she was about 5 or 6 years old, we had her in a bowling league, and there's a picture of her here getting her little trophy. Isn't that cute? And she still has that trophy. Yes, she has that with her in her apartment. That cute little red trophy. And I'll show you a picture, actually. Maybe I should have started off with this one. This is when I was pregnant for Stacy. Right there. So Gerald and I were married a year and 2 months. And then Stacy was born. And there she is right there. And look at my 80s style hairstyle. Yes, I've got quite the punky look, don't I? And Stacy was born in November. And here's a little picture of the three of us. Yes, she was just a little girl, sweet little girl. And here she is in her jolly jumper. She always had such a good time in her jolly jumper. There's the three of us, and handsome Gerald. Tall, dark, and handsome. There he is, and there's Stacy and myself as well, with my 80s hairstyle. And here's a cute picture of Stacy with our family friend, Esther. Esther was just a teenager there, but she wanted to take Stacy for a little horseback ride on her horse. So that was definitely worth getting a picture of. And here is Stacy's high school graduation picture. Isn't she a beauty? Yes, she's grown up fast, and I'm very, very, very proud of our daughter Stacy. I also have a picture of myself when I was pregnant for Joshua. And there's Stacy. I'm reading her a book. And this was taken at a baby shower. There's Joshua and I. And a lady at the church we were going to, she threw on a baby shower for us. So that was really nice of her. Really, really nice of her. And the gifts that I received at that baby shower were a huge, huge help. There's Gerald with the kiddos. Josh was just a brand new baby there. And little Stacy girl as well. And this is a picture of Gerald. And there's Stacy. And that's Gerald's grandmother there. And there I am. I'm pregnant for Josh in that picture. And that is some of Gerald's relatives on his side of the family. Really nice family photo. But it's really nice we were able to get a picture with Gerald's grandmother. Yeah, really nice picture. And I have a picture here with Joshua. Joshua has been wearing glasses since he's been 20 months old. Yeah, he wasn't able to walk, but the very day that those glasses were put on him, he was not only walking, but he was running. Yeah, running and climbing. He was doing things that he had never done before. But 20 months old, he's been wearing glasses since he's been 20 months old. And I have, let's see what else here. I have actually Joshua's graduation pictures here. Now, some of you know Joshua has Asperger's syndrome, which is on the autism spectrum, and he was diagnosed with that at 17. And at 18, Joshua was officially diagnosed with schizophrenia. And because we homeschooled, we were able to get a lot of his schooling in, but once Josh got quite ill and was definitely not feeling well, we had to put his schooling on hold for a little bit over a year. But once he started feeling a little bit better, Gerald and I finished up his homeschooling, finished up his grade 12, and we decided to have a really nice ceremony. It was at home that we had it. We had a really nice ceremony for Stacy's homeschooling graduation as well, but with Josh being ill, we decided to make his just a little bit smaller than what Stacy had. So here's a picture here. There's Gerald. He is speaking at Joshua's graduation. And here's a picture of Joshua looking very handsome. He wrote a speech too. Yeah, he did. He did a good job as well. Here is a picture of my stepmother and I, or stepmother and me. And here's the beautiful cake, Joshua's graduation cake. Very, very proud of our Josh. And it was like a barbecue potluck. There's Gerald and Joshua at the barbecue in their nice dress shirts. And this is Joshua's youth group leader here. We invited him to come, and he said a little speech. And this gentleman here he's a pretty good guy. Yes, he's been wonderful with Josh, a good friend to the family. And here's a very special picture of Gerald's mom and Stacy. They were at the graduation as well. I want to thank you, my friends, for joining me today. I know it was kind of a different kind of video, wasn't it? But I thought it'd be nice just to share some family pictures and family stories with you. And it's such a cold day outside today. It's like minus 3 degrees Celsius out there. So I thought doing a nice video inside might be a treat for us all. But especially I was thinking about you all. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was kind of a different kind of video, wasn't it? And if you like this vlog, please give me the YouTube thumbs up or press that subscribe button. That would be great. And I have more vlogs coming up, so stay tuned and I'll talk to you all soon. Talk to you soon, my friends. Bye. Bye.